And today, the 16th of June 2022, is the International Day of the African Child. The day is commemorated every year by member states of the African Union and its partners in accordance with the resolution of the African Union. The commemoration recalls the 1976 uprisings in Soweto, when a protest by school children in South Africa against discrimination in the education system resulted in the public killing of unarmed young protesters by police officials. The theme for this year's commemoration is Eliminating Harmful Practices Affecting Children, Progress on Policy and Practice since 2013. And joining me to talk about the theme of the day is Toby Ransom, Project Manager, Education Plan International, Nigeria. She joins us virtually. Good to have you join us, Toby.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here too.
Let me start you off with the theme, since that's the focus, actually. The theme says eliminating harmful practices affecting children. And I'm focusing on the last part, progress on policy and practice since 2013. And let me ask you what exactly, what progress exactly we have made since 2013, and if some of those issues exist even today.
Yes, thank you for that question. So I'm going to start with some of the harmful practices that are prevalent in Nigeria, Africa generally, but Nigeria, since that's where we are. We have child early and forced marriage, which is very predominant in Nigeria. We also have female genital mutilation. We have negative coping mechanisms that parents have adopted, which impacts children, such as child trafficking, hawking, sexual exploitation, and then unpaid labor that children are forced into. And as we all know, this actually affects it impacts the children both physically and mentally. And it's good to note that Nigeria as a country has made some sort of progress, especially across the states. So, for example, we are very much aware that quite a number of the states, in my last count, we have about 24, if not more, states that have actually ratified or assented to the Child Rights Act. We're also aware that some states have also ratified the VAP, which is Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. And then we have the child protection laws. So we are increasingly seeing demand from both civil societies and NGOs on the implementation or ratification of these laws and also implementation. So yes, there is some progress, but some of these practices are still prevalent in our societies.
Especially now that we have, it's just like a barrage of reports of sexual abuse against children, even in the education in schools, and that's really alarming. What do you find to be driving some of the factors that are driving some of these harmful practices?
Can you say that again? I missed the last part of your question.
I was asking you, what are the factors you have found to be driving some of these harmful practices?
So there are various factors. You know, I would like to start from the first one, which is the prevalence of harmful norms and beliefs that actually drive practices. Practices or behaviors do not walk apart from the beliefs and norms that people hold dear to themselves, and we see that exhibiting themselves in these issues that we're seeing. And then also, I would like to comment on why it appears that there's an increase in reports on sexual assault or violence that is happening in schools and even in the society. I would like to attribute that to also an increase in awareness that is being raised, you know, concerning these issues, and then an increase, you know, to access to reporting channels. So, for example, we have the internet, where it's very easy for people to flag or raise concerns. Yeah. Then, in addition to some of the factors that adds to or that causes some of these practices is weak accountability structures. Unfortunately, in as much as we have some of these Child Rights Act and laws that are in place, the implementation is very poor to a large extent. And when people or violators are not held accountable to some of their actions, it gives more room to have more violators. So I can attribute that to weak accountability structures.
And you have mentioned issues around tradition. issues around religion, and one wonders where we should begin. And you also talked about implementation of the policies that we already have. So where do we begin in terms of eliminating these harmful practices?
So, like I mentioned, with regards to harmful norms that is held generally across, which the important one of the things that we would call for, especially for as an organization, is that we should have more support with the implementation of Child Rights Act. So beyond ratifying these acts and making sure that they are passed as laws, it should be implemented. What that does is strengthen the accountability system. It makes provision for different structures that these concerns can be addressed. And also the Violence Against Girls Act should also, be implemented and should also be put into law and implemented. And then also there's a need for constant awareness raising at all levels. So starting from the grassroots, the community level with parents, households, and taking it up until we get to the higher structure. With increased awareness comes more responsibility, and people know the effect of some of these harmful practices and how they can report them and where they can receive support for them.
Absolutely, that's very important, where people need to find help if they have been affected. And counseling and issues around therapy is also very important. Thank you so much for talking to us. Project Manager, Education Plan International Nigeria, Toby Ransom.